So I wanted to just share something from today. I had a wonderful few hours to have a healthy discussion with a friend of mine, and something that had came through that I don't dial into often, but it was a smaller part of me that wanted to share something that can be very comforting in uncomforting times. Essentially, there was a cosmic aspect, one seen outside of time and space, that I would refer to as a supernova. And that's how it was showing to me. It was showing to me like a supernova. And it was a reminder in the most subtle parts of self, beyond the noise, confusion, and distraction, of the forgiveness over the misunderstandings of life. The forgiveness over the misunderstandings of the quantum, and forgiveness over the misunderstandings over religion, spirituality, philosophy, theosophy. And it was this subtle place of recognizing that there are things that the human mind will never, ever, 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 ever be able to fully conceive about life. And to be okay with that space. And to allow these nuances of forgiveness to show up for us in regards to right or wrong, morality, immorality, treating one another, indoctrinations, hierarchy, so on and so forth. Without having to get into the complications of it, it was just something, it was a really beautiful essence. And it was something that was very quiet, it was very still, and it would show up as a higher dimensional consciousness, or something that would be within the super consciousness. And just a reminder, right, that at the end of everything, be okay getting it all wrong. The ego and the personality might not understand, but Source understands. Source understands because it created this cosmic experience for us to learn in these realms of density, and to remind us that there are things outside of density that we might not be able to comprehend or quite compare to, but within the subtle knowings, within the subtle source knowings, are reminding us that we're loved and we're cared about, and it's forgiven even if we don't understand it. It really helps us to take a step back in regards to kind of like the frivolousness of certain experiences, in opinions, in dialogues with one another. And it was something within this kind of subtle space that was giving us the opportunity to just kind of understand that we don't have to make so much of everything. It helped to silence the noise over such a big, grandiose way of seeing the microcosm. So yeah, within the microcosm, we all have an effect. We all have a purpose. But then there's this like greater source experience in which we don't have to over dramatize or over inflate what we do, because there are kind of like bigger fish to fry in the cosmos right now. And it's really interesting because like I know in my day-to-day there are these worries and fears and concerns that come up that can seem really big to us, and I don't even want to call them in psychology maximizing or minimizing stories, but there are greater things at play right now than our spiritual and religious concerns, and there's greater causations that are having a greater impact. Yes, these subtleties are a part of the greater macro, but it helped to basically take our microcosm and not make it unimportant, but allow us to recognize that for a greater portion of the population, there are things that are like really big concerns right now that don't need to be so concerning, because there are other things at play that are currently working out in the greater spectrum of life, and in the greater spectrum of light, and in the greater spectrum of consciousness. So there's this reminder of forgiveness, not to override or overwrite what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're being, what you're believing, or what you're feeling, but to step into a place where you can kind of relax in your consciousness, relax in your state of being, relax in your doing, and have a little bit more fun. It's a reminder of lighten up and play, but it really is in the softer tonality of Source that reminds us that there is a way bigger zoom out kind of experience, that when we tap into that subtleties, it silences a lot of that inner noise over the things that were our blockages, our limitations, or our arguments in life.